Hey everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood Joe Grotesque here, just fulfilling my obligation to the Q&A that I promised in the season opener. It's currently 2 a.m. and a pretty cold night here in the Piedmont of North Carolina. It's 10 degrees right now and I anticipate it to get a little bit colder before the sun comes up. So anyway, let's get to these questions. The first question comes from Marcus of the Retro Game Players channel here on YouTube, and he asks, what games from Sega and Atari are coming out this year that you're most excited about? Well, Marcus, to be honest, I really can't answer the question in regards to Atari because I don't really keep up with Atari that much anymore, let alone modern games all that much. But as far as Sega, if what I read was true, back in December I read an article about Yakuza 0 coming out for the PS4 here in the States. If that's true, that would be my most anticipated for Sega for sure. Dan from the Odd Pod channel asks, why did you start Retro Cynical? Well, that's a really long story. It goes all the way back to when I was like 8 or 9 years old. I had a dictaphone tape recorder in which I would just basically regurgitate whatever I was reading in Nintendo Power at the time under the moniker The Game Ghoul. And if any of you actually really watch the show, you're familiar with The Game Ghoul, obviously. But yeah, aside from that, like later on, once my parents got a camcorder, I would videotape little shows and things like that throughout my history as a kid. As far as starting on YouTube though, I actually started my YouTube channel back in 2006. That was 10 freaking years ago now. In which I did a few things, sketch comedy things. One in particular, I'll actually leave the link to below this video if you want to check it out. It's really stupid, but it's called Insano Vision Television. That's kind of like the roots to what Retro Cynical eventually became. But post that time, I think it was in December of 2012, I decided to do the Game Ghoul's Nostalgia-nomicon, which is ultimately what became Retro Cynical. But long story short, to really answer your question, I basically started because I have a great passion for filming things and entertaining people, and obviously I have a great passion for video games, especially retro games. So I thought, why not? It's something creative I can do with my spare time, and it's more or less my therapy. Dan actually asked the second question, what's the most prized piece in your collection? Well, as difficult as that is, for whatever reason, I narrowed it down to this guy. This is Red Aramer 2, also known as Gargoyle's Quest 2. It's really mainly because it's a great game, and you know, this being the Japanese version with really cool box art, for whatever reason, that's what I came up with. Rufus Neckbone asks, have you ever been a fashion model? Well, I do believe you know the answer to that, Rufus, but some of the rest of you may not know. It's really quite silly. From the mid-80s to probably 1990, I was a runway model, a child model for the department store Belk's. And I think Rufus was anticipating me to share a photo that he's seen of me in my chubby stage towards the end of my modeling career. But I actually don't have that. It's one of my relatives has that photo, so I will share this one. Wasn't I just the cutest thing? Anyway, that wraps up the Q&A. Only a few of you participated in this Q&A, but I applaud those of you that did. If anyone wants to ask me a question about anything, it doesn't have to pertain to the show at all, really. Feel free to do so, and maybe I'll do another one of these in the very, very near future. For those of you that were gracious enough to actually sit through this thing, I figured I would end it with a little sneak peek of the next Retro Cynical episode. I'm not going to say anything, I'm just going to show you something. This. So that wraps up this Q&A. Thank you so much for watching. My gosh, thank you to all of you that have been watching my videos frequently, and those of you that have subscribed. My gosh, I never expected to have just shy of 400 subscribers. I remember telling myself, if I could just get 100 subscribers, that's an audience, and that would be awesome, and I would be perfectly happy with it. You guys have like blown my expectations out of the water, and I can't thank you enough. So until the next episode of Retro Cynical, thanks for watching and take care.